Sea of Thieves is a pirate game, which means when you play it, you are going to run into a lot of pirates who want to steal your loot. In the past, most of my player encounters have been either harmless or completely hostile. Often, I'd only engage in PvP if I had to. But then Rare, the company behind Sea of Thieves, announced its Season 8 update, which not only made the PvP a good bit more accessible, but they also announced a new cosmetic, the Skeleton Curse. This would change your character into a skeleton that you can customize to your heart's content. I was extremely excited for this update, and I need that sweet curse. This curse made me finally decide to wholly focus on leveling up in the Reaper faction. You need to be max level in this Reaper faction in order to get the curse. This faction's whole purpose was to hunt down other players for some PvP action. Though that is not always what goes down, as Sea of Thieves has its ways of changing plans and taking you on adventures that you don't really expect. I had been doing Ghost Fort fights to level up my Reaper flag. That's this guy right here. If you level up your flag to level 5, you can see all other players with an emissary on the map. My brother had just joined when this happened.
One last fort should be enough to get us, oh, Kraken, baby!
This was just Sea of Thieves reminding me that my plans will never go smoothly as long as it can stop me. But not to worry, this was not my first Kraken encounter. We scared it off, and right afterwards, another curveball. A skeleton ship was fast approaching. I wasn't going to just take the hits and run. I wanted the loot aboard this enemy's vessel. But just after we had managed to take down the skeleton ship, I had noticed another Reaper was close by.
Oh, the Reaper is kind of close to us? It's to our east? Straight east?
Excited to get a little PvP practice, I immediately began to chart a course for the Reapers. Of course, the Sea of Thieves had other plans. The Seas had given us the delight of another skeleton ship between us and the Reapers. Not wanting to skip out on a single piece of loot for our sweet, sweet Reaper reputation, we accepted the challenge once again. Even though this skeleton ship was a galleon, I was confident we'd be able to take it down in quick time. Though that confidence was quickly expunged as I realized the new flare I had added on our cannons was completely blinding and made it much harder to shoot. Let's just say it took us a bit longer to take down that skeleton galleon than I want to admit. But right before we took it down, the Reapers appeared from behind the horizon and delivered the final blow. After realizing a second ship was approaching, me and my brother were preparing for a fight, whilst trying to appear as friendly as possible because we were not equipped to handle 2 ships after wasting all our supplies on the skeleton ships.
Oh, I heard someone. Hello! How was your day today? Yeah, what you are. Ahoy! Hello! Hey, they said ahoy back.
We're friendly, I promise. We're just here to make some money.
We're here to make some reputation, so same deal.
It turns out they were actually pretty friendly. These players weren't looking for a fight. They were just trying to get some money from the Reaper's loot multiplier. This was good enough for us because we weren't able to fight back even if we had wanted to. I decided to come up with an excuse to leave them behind so we could escape and get some supplies.
We're gonna go do that Ashen Winds event. Alright, let's go.
Alright, we'll follow you.
For some reason, this wasn't the response I was expecting. I just told the Reapers that I wanted to do a world event so I could leave them behind, but world events are one of the best ways to make money, and that was their whole goal. After a little bit of sailing and a little bit of face-palming, I looked back to see one of the player ships were on fire. Now I wasn't so sure if our new friends were actually as friendly as they had first appeared. Regardless, we made our way to the world event while closely watching the other Reapers just in case. We had a slight accident along the way.
Sorry about that.
I don't know if that shows that they are newer to the game or if I'm just incompetent. Probably both. We had made it to the world event where the boss had already spawned. I brought a trident we had found on the skeleton ship so that I could deal as much damage as possible. Luckily, the other Reapers seemed to be totally cool with helping us out. After we had killed the boss, they were splitting the loot with us. At this point, if they wanted to steal the loot for themselves, they would have done it already.
We're gonna head over to start selling.
Oh, okay.
Just as we were sailing back to Reaper's hideout to sell our loot and log off, another skeleton ship popped out of the ocean. Rare really seemed upset that we hadn't fought those other Reapers and wanted to finish us off before we could sell the treasure. We barely were able to manage with what few supplies we had left.
Oh, we got it. That's
And now we were very desperate to make it to the Reaper's hideout, to sell our loot before we had another similar encounter. But as we were grabbing the loot, guess what happened? Another skeleton sloop popped out of the water. We had no choice but to run. We had no more supplies. We had to run before we had gotten sunk by this other skeleton ship.
swim. Flee, Leo, flee. You good? Okay.
We finally made it to Reaper's hideout. As we were selling the loot, the skeleton sloop continued to shoot at us. Luckily, they have quite brain-dead AI when it comes to players on land. So we were able to sell the loot with little issue. It turns out the Reapers we were playing with were quite new to the game and hadn't understood that the Reaper flag was made to hunt down players, and it shows you other ships on the map. It's good to inform newer players about this game's mechanics so that they aren't frustrated and they come back for more voyages, to more pirates on the seas, which means more adventures to be had. We taught them all we could about what sailing with that flag entails before we had to leave.
Alright, we're logging off. Thanks for helping us out.
Oh, thank you for all that money. You helped me out a lot.
And it was another successful voyage in the books. If you were looking for a little bit more player-on-versus-player action, then I suggest you subscribe so you can watch the next episode that will be in the new Season 8 update, where our PvP skills, or lack thereof, will be put to the test, for my adventures in the Sea of Thieves have only just begun.